Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. And if you've never seen me before, hey, hello. So we're outside again. As you can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about every movie that I watched in the month of May. I can't believe it's June already. Last time I did this format, or last time I did this video, or maybe 2 times ago, I did it outside on my front porch, and it was well received. You all seemed to enjoy it, so we're giving it another shot this morning. I have the gain turned way down on the mic, so hopefully the background sound isn't too much, but I think you guys seemed to like it last time, so you can definitely hear the birds, the cars going by, the breeze. But yeah, we're going to talk about movies today. So I will say I watched like 32 movies in May, I think. However, 5 of the 32 I did for a movie marathon video on this channel. So if you haven't seen that, go watch it next. But I'm just going to very briefly touch on those films that I watched here. So if you guys don't know, if you haven't seen one of these videos before, I have my laptop right here and my letterboxd pulled up, and I just go through every film I watched, what my rating is, what my review was, and that's pretty much it. We just talk about all the movies I watched. I watched a lot of them, obviously, so let's do it. Let's talk about it. So, first film I watched of the month was Prisoners, 2013 release, directed by Denis Villeneuve, and starring Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. This is like a crime thriller. Hugh Jackman plays the father of a young girl who is kidnapped, and Jake Gyllenhaal is the detective on the case. And they sort of like team up, and I mean also Viola Davis and Paul Dano are in this movie. It's pretty star-studded. This is a rewatch for me. My boyfriend and I watched it together. We both really loved this film. This was in my top 4 for the longest time, so I would say it's probably easy top 10 movies of all time for me. It's 5 stars, and on this review I wrote Villeneuve's best. I am so deeply in awe of Gyllenhaal, Jackman, and Dano in this. I admire the script and the way they brought it to life. An absolute shame that this film was only nominated for cinematography. It beats every other crime thriller I've seen by a mile. There you have it. Okay, on May 2nd, I went to go see The Devil Wears Prada 2 with my friend Madeline. Obviously, I'm a longtime lover of the OG, but we had to go see the new one in theaters right when it came out. And my rating is 3 stars. And I wrote perfectly lovely and enjoyable. Zero reason to give Andy a hollow romantic subplot, though. Please bore someone else with your questions. It's just like a girl classic. Okay. On the 3rd, I watched something new to me, which is The Starling Girl, released in 2023. I don't know if this was a Netflix original. I'd never heard of it before, but it popped up on my recommended on Netflix, and I was like, you know what? Sure. It's about a girl who's in like a very religious, like almost like borderline cult-like Christian family and community, and she has a crush on an older and married man who works for the church. She's a teenager, I believe. And then things sort of spiral from there. So I gave this one 3 stars. Here's my review is $17 hair extension budget, by the way. This movie is randomly good. Austin Abrams unrecognizable per usual. Yeah, I actually decided to watch this because I saw that Austin Abrams was in it. And I was like, how have I never heard of this? What is it? And it was actually like a pretty good and interesting story for being something that I'd never heard of. So I don't know if this sounds interesting to you. Maybe check it out. I think it's worth seeing. Okay. Didn't watch movies for a couple days. And then on the 6th, I watched Dallas Buyers Club, which is a rewatch for me, of course. 2013 release. The stars Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm sorry, I'm lying to you. Matthew McConaughey, the other hot guy that's in every movie and can act his ass off. Oops. Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto. And in this, Matthew McConaughey, this takes place during the AIDS crisis. And so Matthew McConaughey is a man who finds out that he has AIDS, and he is, unwilling to accept his diagnosis and accept his fate, and is dead set on, trying drugs that aren't yet approved and basically trying to save himself and save others. And so he sort of creates this Dallas Buyers Club, where he is getting like non-approved drugs, and then trying to sell them to people in need who are dying of AIDS. And it's a really intense drama. It's very sad, really like transformative performance for Matthew McConaughey. This is just like a classic, a masterclass in acting. This is a 4-star movie for me, and on this review I wrote McConaughey and Leto are truly unbelievable. Jared Leto plays like, it's unclear if the character is a trans woman or a drag queen. It doesn't matter. It's played by Jared Leto, who is very feminine presenting in this, and it's just like a really heartbreaking story. It's really heartbreaking, but it's all based on truth. Next, on May 7th, for the first time, I watched Thelma and Louise, 1991 release, starring Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis. I knew I would get there. I feel like everybody knows what Thelma and Louise is. Basically, these 2 women who are best friends kind of go on like a crime spree and road trip across the country and trying to evade law enforcement. And it's like a lovely, I don't want to say buddy comedy, buddy dramedy, crime dramedy, I don't know. It's wonderful. People love it for a reason. I gave this 3.5 stars. Can't believe it took me this long to watch it. And I wrote, I would have beat Thelma's ass if I were Louise. Also, kill all rapists. For legal reasons. That is a joke. Okay, on the 8th, I rewatched a childhood, well, for me, childhood classic, The Phantom of the Opera, starring Miss Emmy Rossum as Christine Daae. And also, I didn't realize that Patrick Wilson plays Raoul. Like, I don't remember that as a kid. I never clocked it before. And then, what's his name? Gladiator is the Phantom. Russell Crowe. No, not Russell Crowe. What's his name? Guys, whatever. If you've never seen Phantom of the Opera, maybe it's not for you. But also, if you like musicals, what the heck are you waiting for? I grew up watching this one, loved it. I've been rewatching Shameless with my boyfriend and been dying to rewatch Phantom. So I got the DVD from the library and watched it in my crappy DVD player, and it was awesome. I gave it 2.5 stars. I said, the entire lead cast has so much range. I'm deeply impressed rewatching as an adult. Oh yeah, also Minnie Driver is in this. She can sing opera. Didn't know that. Gerard Butler. Not Russell Crowe. Gerard Butler. I was close. And then I said, that being said, this movie is not very good. LOL. Yeah, it's really not good, but it's really nostalgic for me. So, like, I'll keep watching it every few years, you know? Love it. Very 2004. Not very good, but, like, if you know Phantom, then you love Phantom, and you might as well watch the movie. So, the next day was the 9th, which is when I did my 5-movie marathon. Go watch that movie to hear me give like a full review and see me kind of vlog the 12-hour day of watching 5 movies. But I will tell you, I watched Postcards from the Edge, 1990, Spirited Away, 2001, Being John Malkovich, 1999, The Vanishings, a foreign film, 1988, and Before Sunset, 2004. Those were all movies I'd never seen before, so I had a lot of fun with that. And like I said, go check out that vlog if you want to hear more deets. I took a break from movies on May 10th. I needed a moment to reset. And then on the 11th, I watched 2 films. The first being Tiny Furniture, which is Lena Dunham's directorial debut. I can't believe I'd never seen it, but I recently read her memoir, Famesick, and she talks a lot about tiny furniture and how she got started in the industry. So I wanted to give it a watch. This was released in 2010, and it does star Lena Dunham and also Alex. Oh my gosh. What's his name? He plays Ray in Girls. Alex, I don't know his real name. I can't think of it. It's Alex something. And then also Jemima Kirk, who plays Jessa in Girls. So, really fun, like, beginnings for them. But Lena Dunham plays, like, someone who's just graduated from college. She's in her early 20s. She's very aimless, like, still living at home, still trying to figure out what she wants to do, and kind of showcases her relationship to her mother, which is a close friend-like relationship, but also maybe a little toxic, but just sort of shows her like finding her way in the world and hooking up with guys and going to job interviews, and just, you know, it's like kind of what I expected. I gave this 3 stars, and I wrote, Lena Dunham has always been so smart. Tiny Furniture is no girls, but it's witty and charming and feels like being 22. The mom character is a dream. Loved the way that she wrote the mom character. Next, I watched Elephant, which is a Gus Van Sant film. I watched this because there are other Gus Van Sant films that I really love, and so I am trying to watch more films by directors whose other work I've loved, to kind of, see if I can find some other gems. I absolutely detested this film. The only reason I even finished it is because it was only 90 minutes long. I gave this 1 star. This is about a school shooting. So if that sounds like something that will trigger you, don't watch it. And it is told from the perspective of multiple students. Like, it's kind of like a jumpy timeline. It's told from the perspective of multiple students at that high school throughout the day, including the perpetrators. Here's what I wrote about it. I do not like this film, which is partially the point. It's just shock value for the sake of it, derivative and boring, but made my stomach hurt, so mission accomplished. I just hated it. I hated it. It was so boring. The pacing was awful. I never want to see it again. Watch at your own risk. Okay, on the 12th, I watched another movie that I hated. I watched Go from 1999. I'd never heard of this, but I've been rewatching Dawson's Creek, or not rewatching. It was my first time watching Dawson's Creek, which you've heard me mention on this show before, or on this channel before, but it's a 90s like teen drama, starring James Van Der Beek and Katie Holmes. And so I wanted to watch another Katie Holmes film, or some more of her work. And so I was like, oh, this looks like a fun teen 90s movie. I'll check it out. I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars, and I just wrote, not my vibe, but killer soundtrack. It kind of reminded me of the teens in the movie 13. Like, they're very like drug-addled, like super party teens, which isn't really my thing. I kind of thought it would be a little bit more like slice of life, maybe like Clueless vibes. It was not. It was like 13 or like Euphoria in the 90s, and not for me. Okay, next on May 13th, I went to see Hokum in theaters with my boyfriend. We are Adam Scott fans and also horror fans. I was really excited to see this. This is a like folklore horror. Yeah, it's like a thriller horror about a man who is a writer. Something traumatic happened to him in his past, and I'm trying to not like spoil anything because I went in blind and I think it made me like it more, but he goes to a hotel that is known to be haunted, to write. He goes to a haunted hotel to write, and ends up being like somebody goes missing. There's like a crime that happens when he's staying there, and sorry, I'm being nosy. Okay, but he ends up going to stay there, and there's like a crime that happens early on. Somebody goes missing, and he wants to investigate it and thinks it's connected to this like haunted hotel. I gave this 3.5 stars. I really liked it. All I wrote was spooky as hell. Jeez. There were some really good jump scares in this, and some good, they didn't just rely on jump scares. Like, there was some psychological stuff, like, it kind of creeped me out, which is exactly what I want from a horror movie. I think I enjoyed it more than my boyfriend did, but we both had a good time. So definitely recommend Hokum if you get the chance to see it. Adam Scott was really awesome, and it was cool to see him in a role that wasn't comedic. I've only watched the first season of Severance when it first came out, and I haven't revisited it, so I know he's great in that too, but I feel like he's more known for his comedic roles, so this was refreshing. On the 15th, I watched Gone Baby Gone. My boyfriend and I are big fans of crime thrillers, which I guess you'll see, or crime dramas, I guess, as you'll see throughout, especially this month, but a lot of my videos. We watched Gone Baby Gone, a 2007 release, directed by Ben Affleck, starring Casey Affleck. And yeah, we'd never seen this one before. So this is about Casey Affleck and his girlfriend, who is a famous actress that I can't remember, but their characters are like, they're not detectives with the police, but they're like headhunters is the wrong word. But basically they help people, they have a business where they help people track down people who owe them money and things like that. But they're not affiliated with the police. It's like their own private business kind of deal. And a child goes missing, is kidnapped, and there's like a big media craze around it. It takes place in Boston, like all Affleck affiliated projects. But So this family of this missing child, the police are having no luck finding her. They don't have any leads. And so this family approaches the Casey Affleck character and his girlfriend for them to help. And so they're almost like working against the police. Yeah. So I gave this 3 stars, but I didn't love it. It's funny because you'll, like, with how I rate movies, I give them star ratings based on, like, the genre of film, right? So there are 3 stars on this list that I like more than this, but it's like a 3-star for the genre. So I have higher standards with movies like this, crime thrillers, crime dramas, because there's so many great ones. I gave this 3 stars, and here's what I wrote. And I will say my boyfriend liked this one more than I did, so I wrote, I feel like 9/11, which one of the characters says that. She's excited about something, and she says, I feel like 9/11. So I wrote, huh? Kenzie absolutely did the right thing, by the way. If you know, you know. Cool premise, way too much going on. Casey Affleck is charming, but this film is a muddled mess with awkward pacing. Prisoners did it better. Yeah, it's obviously a good movie objectively, but I think that there's way too much going on, and it makes it really hard to like tie things together, and it's just sort of awkward, but worth seeing. On the 16th, I rewatched Pretty Woman, 1990, Richard Gere, Julia Roberts. Everybody knows Pretty Woman, but in case you don't, Julia Roberts is a sex worker. She's a prostitute on the streets of New York. Richard Gere is a businessman from out of town. He pulls over on the side of the road, genuinely asking for directions, and she gets in the car, and they end up falling in love. It's beautiful. Rewatched it, love it. It's a 4-star movie, and here's the review I wrote this time. One time I mentioned to an ex's mom that I love this movie, and she told me that it's vapid and disgusting and that she's a whore. Anyway, fuck that miserable lady. This movie rocks. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Okay, next, on the 17th, I watched Kramer vs. Kramer, which is a 1979 release starring Meryl Streep and Dustin Hoffman. I've been meaning to watch this movie for forever, basically. I got this one from the library to watch on my DVD player. This is about a couple going through a divorce and custody battle of their young son. It is really heartbreaking, a really good film, and it's just about the complications of like the family law system, and it's also a story about stepping up and like being a good dad. I don't know, I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I wrote, Hoffman and Streep are some of the most quietly expressive actors alive. Gutting performances and screenplay. Our family law system so often gets it wrong. So definitely recommend if you haven't seen that one. Okay, next I watched Mystic River. My boyfriend and I wanted to check this one out while we were on our crime thriller grind. This is 2003 release, starring Tim Robbins and Sean Penn. Emmy Rossum is in this one too. Basically, there's another man in it, but like the Sean Penn character, his daughter is murdered. She turns up dead in like a gruesome murder, and it's about them solving it, and there's a lot of additional crime that happens, and it's sort of like this wild goose chase to like find the killer, and it's a standard crime thriller, you guessed it. So I liked this one. I liked this less than Gone Baby Gone. Just my personal opinion. 3 stars. I wrote, Sean Penn is a fucking star. Everyone in this film needs fucking therapy. There are many other crime thrillers better than this one. Yeah. But still good. Okay, on the 19th, I watched The Crash, which is like the Netflix documentary about Mackenzie Shirilla and the car crash case. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you must have very different social media feeds than I do, because this has been everywhere. I guess there's other like documentaries and true crime episodes about Mackenzie Shirilla. I will say I'm not a true crime person. I used to be really obsessed with true crime, and then I went to law school, and then I worked in prosecution in the Special Victims Unit, and I have zero taste for consuming true crime because I've seen too much, so I don't typically consume it. But since this is just a car crash, 2 young people were killed, but because it's just a car crash, I figured it would be fine, and it was fine. I gave it 2 stars, and I just wrote the review, Mackenzie and her parents are losers. And if you know about the Mackenzie Shirilla case, I'm sure you agree with me. If you don't, maybe don't waste your time. It's a stupid rabbit hole. Okay, on the 22nd, I watched 3 films. I was home all day, just like hanging out. And I watched Single White Female, 1992. I'd never seen this before, but I feel like people always reference it. Like, people use it as like a verb, like, oh, be careful, she might single white female you. Have you guys heard people say that? I've heard people say that. So I was like, I saw it pop up on Netflix. Okay, let's watch it. And this is about a girl who gets a roommate, and the roommate becomes so obsessed with her that she wants to turn into her. Like, it's scary. She's like a stalker, and it's like insane. I gave this 2.5 stars. The review that I wrote says, what the hell? I didn't enjoy watching this, but I totally respect it. Yeah, I feel like this movie was ahead of its time, and it's a cool story, but the actual like movie isn't super well done, but crazy. Then I rewatched Big Daddy. I love this movie. I was on my period and everything was making me cry, including this movie. I've watched Big Daddy like a dozen times and I've never cried watching it, but I cried watching it this time. So that's the mental emotional state I was in on this day. This is 1999, starring Adam Sandler and Cole Sprouse as his child. Leslie Mann is also in this, and some other actors that you'll recognize. But if you don't know Big Daddy, you've got to watch it. It's hilarious and also heartwarming. But Adam Sandler is kind of like a loser, basically. He went to law school and then now he's like unemployed and he just like hangs out on his couch and like he's like a super loser, single, just like can't get it together. And he's home and a young boy gets dropped off on his porch. And he's just, the circumstances are odd, but essentially he just takes him in and like becomes his dad. And then he wants to like fight for custody of this kid who is not his by blood at all, but he wants to turn his life around and be a father. It's crazy. My review contains spoilers, but I cried. It's awesome. Hello? Okay, my camera did a weird thing. All right. Oh, okay. I gotta try to go through these faster. So this is just gonna be a long video. Okay, then I watched The Trial of Chicago 7, which I'd never seen. This is a 2020 release about the trial of the Chicago 7, which I'm not going to give you a history lesson here, but look it up. It's crazy. It's crazy. So it's based on the true story. This is a Sorkin film. I am starting a Sorkin kick with The Social Reckoning coming out later this year. I need to rewatch Social Network and yeah, I don't know, finish Sorkin's library of work. I gave this 4.5 stars, and this is an extremely star-studded cast. I'm not even going to go through it in full. Just watch this. This is available on Netflix. Just watch this. 4.5 stars is like huge coming from me. My review says, full goosebumps when Hayden started reading those names. This is a trial I'm ultimately unfamiliar with, and I'm now deeply invested in going down this rabbit hole. I'll be thinking about this film for a long time. Perfect casting. This movie is awesome. You've got to go check it out. Especially if you like courtroom dramas, then you'll love this. But even if not. Okay, on the 23rd, I rewatched Cheaper by the Dozen. I've seen this one a million times. Also cried watching this. This is 3 stars for me, and my review says, adding this to the list of nostalgic faves I've cried to while on my period. Same as Big Daddy. Same vibes. Okay. Then I rewatched Nope. It's newly on Netflix, and I love Jordan Peele. You guys know this. You guys know how obsessed I am with Jordan Peele. I talk about this a lot on this channel. But I hadn't watched this one in a while. 3.5 stars. This is my least favorite of Jordan Peele's films, but I still really like it. Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer, everything to me. This is 3.5 stars, and my review just says, Jordan Peele, wake up, we need you. Come on, buddy, we need you. We need another one. Then on the 24th, I watched It's Complicated for the first time, which is crazy because I love Nancy Meyer, as we all do, and I love Meryl Streep and Steve Martin. I don't love Alec Baldwin, but you know, he's there. This is about Meryl Streep is divorced from Alec Baldwin, but then she enters a love triangle. Like, she starts having an affair with him again, but then she also meets Steve Martin, who she likes. So she's in this love triangle. They're older. This came out in 2009, so they're like in their 50s, 60s, I think. And then they have grown children, and it's like a good family drama, but also about an older woman, like, being sexual and like reclaiming her power. It's beautiful. 3 stars. My review says, I too fell in love with Meryl Streep on that date. Yeah, sure did. Okay, then also on the 24th, I saw I Love Boosters in theaters, which is the new Keke Palmer film. Boosters, I didn't know this. Boosters is a term for people who steal clothing and resell it. Like, steal clothing from stores and then resell it. Keke Palmer is in a group of boosters. Demi Moore is in this. I gave this 1.5 stars. I fucking hate this movie. Here's what I wrote. This style of ultra camp is absolutely not for me, and I mostly hated everything about this. Bonus half star for the casting and some of the symbolism and messaging. This reminded me of Sorry to Bother You, which I also hated, and then I found out they're both directed by Boots Riley. Hey, at least the man has a distinct style. We'll be avoiding his future projects. I know a lot of people who love Sorry to Bother You, and they love I Love Boosters, and are just Boots Riley fans. I'm not a Boots Riley fan. I don't like his work. I won't be watching any more of his work. It's not for me. Okay, then I rewatched Moneyball. If you watched my sports movies video, I mentioned Moneyball, and then I felt like I needed to rewatch it, so I rewatched it. This stars Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill randomly, but Brad Pitt is the manager of a professional baseball team that he has to rebuild, and he, with Jonah Hill's help, they sort of create a software for drafting a winning pro baseball team against all odds. This is also Aaron Sorkin, and it's a good drama. Came out in 2011. I gave this 3.5 stars, and my review just says baseball and girl dad excellence. Recommend. Okay, then also on May 25th, I rewatched Lady Bird 2017, Greta Gerwig, starring Saoirse Ronan. This is a coming-of-age film. That's all that you need to know if you haven't seen it. This is a 3.5 star. I wrote, it's crazy now to think that the first time I watched Lady Bird, I didn't like it. So many moments and pieces of dialogue resonate with me and what my teen life looked like, specifically in Christine's relationship with her mom. Tough and delightful watch every time. Timothy Chalamet is also in this. And it's fun to watch him in this kind of role because it's so different from like the types of roles he's been playing lately. A great watch. Okay, we've only got a few left. We're in the home stretch, gang. On the 26th, I watched The Last 5 Years, another movie musical. This is a musical soundtrack that it's so funny because what I was about to say is exactly what I wrote in my review. I'm very consistent with my thought processes. I listen to the soundtrack a lot in my car, but I've never seen the movie, and I felt like, okay, I should watch the movie. This stars Jeremy Jordan and Anna Kendrick, and it is about a couple goes through a divorce, and it's told in like reverse timeline order. So it starts with their post-divorce, and then we go through and see when they first met. It's told like entirely in song. There's almost no written dialogue that's not set to music. I gave this 2 stars, and my review says, the soundtrack remains on heavy rotation in my car, but this production absolutely does not work as a film. 2014 release, if I didn't say that already. Okay, last few, home stretch. Then, that same evening, my boyfriend and I went to go see Obsession in theaters. Obsession. So, the entire internet is obsessed with Obsession. So I'm sure you've heard about it. It's a horror film. And basically there's some sort of obsession situation. I don't want to like spoil anything for you. I went in pretty blind, but the main guy gets himself into a sort of romantic relationship with a woman that he's obsessed with. They're very young, like in their 20s, I think, early 20s. And all hell breaks loose and everything gets scary. Here's what I wrote. I gave this 3 stars. I wrote, these acting performances go crazy, and I'm a huge fan of the cinematography and lighting choices. The backlit scenes where the whole audience is squinting to see Nikki's face, genius. Such an undervalued technique. When she starts moving in stop motion, the incest monologue, the cartoonish frown, I'm genuinely terrified of this woman. The writing was half-baked, though. That was my big issue with it. Probably 0 rewatch value, but a properly jump-scary, interesting horror movie. That's the thing. I don't ever want or need to watch this movie again. I don't think that it holds rewatch value at all, so I can't rate it any higher. And I had issues with the writing big time. But it's a fun horror movie to go see in theaters. On the 27th, on a plane, in fact, I watched 13 Going on 30. This is a favorite for me. It's 5-star. This is one of, if not my favorite, rom-com of all time. 2004 Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm not going to explain the plot of 13 Going on 30 to you, because why haven't you seen it? Why don't you already know? On the 28th, I watched Catch and Release. I was on a Jennifer Garner kick. 2006. This movie's not very good. Jennifer Garner plays a woman whose husband passes away, or her fiance passes away at the very beginning of the film. She stays with some of his friends and then finds out that her fiance is not who she thought he was. 2.5 stars. I just wrote likable, forgettable. I have not thought about this movie at all and honestly forgot that I watched it, but I enjoyed watching it, so. Then I watched Because I Said So on the 31st, 2007, 2.5 stars. This stars Diane Keaton, R.I.P., and she has 3 daughters played by Lauren Graham, love, Mandy Moore, love, and Piper Perabo, love. She is single, their mother is single, and she's also trying to set one of her daughters up, but also ends up, maybe trying to find love herself. It's like a fun, rom-com kind of, but it's just like a light family comedy. It's 2.5 stars. Like I said, the last time, so I didn't write a review this time, but the last time I watched it, I said saccharine and outlandish, but bonus for Lauren Graham violating HIPAA and Diane Keaton orgasming. So if that sounds like a fun time, check it out. And finally, the last film that I watched in May, which I also watched on a plane, on a return flight, is The Wedding Singer. Rewatched it. 1998, Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Adam Sandler plays the titular wedding singer, who has a failed relationship and works for like a wedding catering company as the wedding singer. And Drew Barrymore character is a waitress who is going to be getting married and keeps begging Adam Sandler to sing at her wedding. And this is just a really fun, even though it was filmed in the 90s, it takes place in the 80s. So there's lots of fun 80s music. It's really silly and goofy. Like, it's very Adam Sandler. Like, Steve Buscemi's in it. Like, it's an iconic, typical Adam Sandler movie. I gave this 3.5 stars, and I wrote way funnier in my 20s than it was as a kid. And my favorite line from the entire movie, and I say this all the time, even though this is my first time rewatching it since childhood, my favorite line in the movie is, "Hi, Aunt Linda, you're a bitch." A little kid says that, and it's so funny. Literally smiles like that. It's classic. But yeah, so that's the 32 movies that I watched in May. I had a really eventful movie month. But I didn't discover any new favorites. I would. I'm sorry. I'm lying to you. I'm lying. Okay. I discovered some new favorites in my movie marathon, so watch that to see what I thought of those films. But I discovered Kramer vs. Kramer from 1979 and The Trial of the Chicago 7 from 2020. Those were my standout new discoveries this month. So, I've already watched several films in June, so I'll be back here in a few weeks to talk about my June movies. Let me know what you guys have been watching lately, if you've seen any of these movies, what your favorite movies have been, what you're seeing in theaters. Let's talk movies in the comments. So, thank you for watching. I hope that you're staying safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!